The value and human origin of technology. Pope Benedict XVI acknowledged technology as a powerful and essential human reality, not something to be feared or rejected. In his encyclical Caritas in Veritate, number 69, he said, technology enables us to exercise dominion over matter, to reduce risks, to save labor, to improve our conditions of life. He viewed science and technology as part of the Creator's plan, allowing humanity to till and to keep the land. United as brothers and sisters, we thank God for the gift of Creator's plan and all that we are enabled to experience, enjoy, learn, unlearn. May the Spirit walk with us, and may we be enabled to be aware of the presence of Spirit amongst us. And each village is a leader. The very fact that we are called to proclaim God's good news, we are leaders in our own domain. May we enjoy learning through this session and learning to be leaders who can continue to evangelize people through all that we have as God's plan. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you, Father Emmanuel, and on behalf of Father Matthew and the Indogat team.
Dear fellow pilgrims of hope, thank you for this opportunity to be with you this evening or this afternoon to share with you some of my own experience and learning, and in particular in the area of artificial intelligence. I shall spend time today trying to understand what does artificial intelligence stand for and how we can harness the power of the technology in order to be more effective in our missions and become the agents of pain and love and compassion in our society. Today in Northeast, especially in Assam, it's Kati Bihu. So greetings of Bihu. At the same time, it's a time of Diwali, a time of light. So wish you all a happy Diwali, and may God's light and his wisdom be upon us, each one of us. So we will try to understand in next 1 hour, what does it actually mean by artificial intelligence in a simple terms. We will also ask ourselves, how can we use this or harness the power of technology in order to support the leadership, governance, and mission in religious congregations? Then also critically assess the ethical, pastoral, and spiritual challenges in adopting AI tools. Reflect on discernment-based leadership that integrates technology with the charism and human values. So, what is AI in a very simple terms? Basically, AI is assisting us to make decisions. It's helping us to analyze larger data at a shorter period of time and come up with possibilities. And in our daily lives, for example, a predictive text on your telephone or in your mobile that you see, the Google map that you're using it, and again, the translation app that is being used for the mission work. Last week, I was in Hyderabad. I was with a group of AI specialists, and they have developed a robot, which is only just 12 inches. which a doctor can carry in the briefcase. What does it do? It translates what patient says in their respective language to a language that the doctor understands. And it does the vice versa. So doctor's words are translated into the local language of the patient. And is working well and is something beautiful. And for us priests, it's a wonderful to create homilies or preparing classes or drafting letters. So there are a lot of usefulness that we have with artificial intelligence. I invite you to look at the screen. What do you see on a screen? You'll see a priest, a brother, and a sister. You know where I made this from? It is an image I created in ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, create for me an image of a priest, sister, and a brother, and gave a very clear-cut prompt that the brother be in kurta, sister be in sari, a saffron, color, and priest in cassock. And look at the image that AI generated in a matter of 30 seconds. And it looks so real, right? It's so clear. So AI can do a lot in this context. Pope Francis, in the encyclical, had beautifully brought out the concept of rapidification, or in other words, social acceleration. Amitabh Ghosh, one of the great writers of Bengal, had brought out numerous books and articles on this regard of social acceleration, how the society is moving at a rapid rate, how it is transforming at a rapid rate. And it is in this context, AI has become a gift of the time. The challenge for us is, how do we use this AI? AI is a gift of human creativity. And like all gifts, it can be used for good or it can be used for harm. Good in very many ways. And in recent times, the prediction of cancer, sicknesses, and many others. In a wrong term, there are many who have got cheated recently of money or their identities. So it's a wonderful gift. And why AI at this moment of time? There are four characteristics of knowledge that has changed in our time. The first thing is, knowledge has been deinstitutionalized. Prior to the arrival of internet, I remember when I did my doctorate at Boston College, we were allowed to take 100 books at a time from the library. We used to go to a library, collect the book, carry it home, study, then take it back. Today, library comes to me. So, deinstitutionalization of information and knowledge. So anyone can access any information, anytime, anywhere, provided you have a gadgets to access it. And the second aspect of it, knowledge has become dynamic. I can see on Father Matthew's background, beautiful books. I'm sure nowadays in the photograph, what you would possibly find is a computer and possibly an Apple laptop on the desk. What does it symbolize? Knowledge has become dynamic. What was knowledge yesterday need not be knowledge today. And knowledge is constantly evolving. And the third dimension of knowledge is today intra, or multidisciplinary. And India in particular, with the new education policy, this has become much more reality. Earlier, if you had taken history in undergraduates, in graduate 2, you take a history, you do a PhD in history, and possibly you get trapped in history and history get trapped in you. But today, you might take history. At the same time, you can also take calculus or chemistry or psychology. So the third dimension. And the fourth dimension, which is a very significant one, is the authority of knowledge. Earlier, the authority of knowledge was external. Pope said, or teachers said, today I decide what is knowledge for me. I construct my own knowledge. Now, this is where the change is happening. So by 2030, the skill set that needed for anyone, and in particular, religious across the globe, is some of those skills. Analytical thinking, emotional intelligence, lifelong learning, self-motivation, agility, leadership, technological literacy, AI, and big data analysis. And the more is called system thinking. So what is the skill that we require today? What I call a computational thinking. What is computational thinking? Computational thinking is the capacity to access information, analyze information, and construct knowledge out of it, and create multiple solutions and choose the best. That is why when you go to Google or when you go to any search engine, you put a topic, you might get 2 or 3 lakh hits. How do you know what is actual information you're looking for? Is this information correct? So that is where you have to develop a different thinking skills that is required today. And how is this working? So it is in this context where artificial intelligence is coming in. That means, what does it actually do? It is trying to collect the information. It's trying to collect and analyze the information, construct multiple possibilities, and present to you. So how do I use as a consumer? I can use this information only when, as Stephen Covey said, when the end in mind. I need to know what I actually want. For example, the picture of the priest, sister, brother that I put up. How did I generate? So I told ChatGPT, I require the image of a priest, sister. Then I have to create a prompt that the ChatGPT understands so it is able to produce it. I did not play the song fully. Even that song that I created today, it is actually from suno.ai. It mentions about the lyrics are very clear. Actually, it's a summary of today's talk. So you can do a lot of this kind of work very easily and very effectively. Now, every day, people learn more about the ways artificial intelligence is impacting their lives. Today, everyone's life in a way is impacted by it. But what we require is we need to understand that technology is happening to us rather than with us and for us. I think this is a challenge for the leadership. At the moment, technology is happening. It is happening for us rather than it is not with us and it is not for us. And that's where the leadership changes. I'm repeating that picture again. Look at the clarity in that picture. Look at the originality. And if I had put a name there, I don't think anyone would suspect that this image was created by a ChatGPT. Because it looks so original, the features are very clear. What you require is a prompt. So if you look at it, I said the priest will not wear a cross. So it did not give that. Both the brother and the sister has. And if you look at the detail, the sister has a chain and brother has a rope. Now all this is possible. Now what is the impact? In Madhya Pradesh recently, for a job of 7,500 constables, the lower ranking of police officials, constables, you had 9 lakh applications, which included engineers, PhD graduates, and MBAs. Now, this is going to be the major challenge. That is where we need to be able to, along with artificial intelligence, nurture the human intelligence. Now, a combination of artificial intelligence and a fusion of human intelligence, that is where the religious can use AI today. So AI becomes your assistant in order to be effective, efficient, and fast. For that, this dimension of intelligence has to be developed. And in this process, anyone in leadership or any as a consecrated person, you will have to grow like the tree. The tree grows both ways, upward and downward. An inward journey, understanding who we are and our mission, and a journey outward, conquering and grappling with the world of knowledge. And these are the human skills that is required today. The civic and cultural literacy, organizational literacy, financial literacy, and digital literacy. I have divided them into 4 areas. Now, when you talk about AI, and if you don't understand these skills or develop the skills, you become a slave and a victim of technology. I think the leadership has to support the membership, not to become a victim of technology, but rather to become or to harness the power of technology for the context of today. So, AI is everywhere today. Whether you go to hospitals, whether it's for safety, everywhere AI has penetrated itself, and it is going to more and more. I think what we need to understand is future of ours will not be written by algorithms. It will be written by people as a collective force. I think this is the role of the leadership. The role of the leadership is that we should not be just driven by algorithms, but it will be we who will write collectively the future of the world. That change required. Very interestingly, a recent study which analyzed 65,000 articles between 2020 and 25 found that almost 70 to 80% of the articles were possibly written by assistants of AI. What does it speak? That means we are sometime becoming a victim. I think that's where we need to be thinking about. At the same time, there's a creativity. Just yesterday, India has introduced the world's first driverless electronic rickshaw. No driver. It costs about 4 lakhs and it can go up to 120 kilometers once it's charged. Beautiful. So both sides of AI. Now this auto rickshaw does not have a driver, but it will be able to meander through our streets and take the passenger safe to the destination where they have to go. So AI definitely has tremendous advantage. First of all, it is 24/7 availability, increased security, less errors, automation is possible, help us to make the decisions faster, increase efficiency, less risk, and increase productivity. So on one side, definitely we have plenty of advantage with AI, and it will definitely help in increasing security as well as other aspects of decision making and analysis. For example, any congregation wants to do a skill mapping of their membership. It becomes very easy with the assistance of AI tool. Say you conduct a survey and you want to do the analysis. I'm more focusing on ChatGPT because I use ChatGPT, even though there are so many other. For example, you have Gemini, you have DeepSeek, all of them. But I have a paid version of ChatGPT. Therefore, I see even analyzing a data becomes very, very easy. Very, very easy. Now, what is the disadvantage? One, any open AI software, you become the product. And your data is not protected. So safety is not there. So anyone using AI which is free, the one who is using is actually the product. It is expensive. It is expensive. For example, ChatGPT, if you use the Pro, it's about 2,000 rupees a month average. Presenter Media is about $50 a year. Now, Internet Download Manager, it's about 3,500 at the moment for a year. So any of the softwares are definitely expensive. Now, what are the risks of AI? One, the economic. 45% of the job that exists today will not be there in next 25 years. Then we become over-dependent. Again, ethical concerns. Again, the whole question of human-centric relationship. Even now, we can see a lot of our youngsters today using, spending their time with the mobile rather than with the family. So these are all serious concerns. So definitely, there are a lot of disadvantages of AI that is happening. Now, what are the possibility of using AI for religious leadership? First of all, for administration and governance, data management and planning. AI can help superiors track community needs, finances, education outcomes, and mission projects. Data management. Next is predictive analysis. Earlier, we hired outside agency to do a predictive analysis. Today, you can do the predictive analysis in a fraction of a second. And then, of course, automation, like your emails, reports, minutes can be automated, freeing leaders to pastoral presence. A couple of days ago, being a secretary, I had to create a couple of reports to be filed. It did not even take me 1 hour altogether. I had the posters or the flyers of all our programs and a couple of photographs, just uploaded to ChatGPT and said, create for me chronologically the report of the activity report of the organization. Lo and behold, about 20 pages of report with a photograph properly placed, generated in a fraction of probably 10-15 minutes. So there's a lot that can be done. I will come to some of the practical aspect little later. As I finish another few more minutes, I will take the theoretical side, then I will definitely go into that. Now, applications. We are already using speech recognition. Video. Now, Suno AI, it's so beautiful when you have someone has a birthday, you want to send a personal message of a song, you can create it. The lyrics can be created in ChatGPT, cut and paste in Suno, and you can give male or female voice. All that can be done so quickly. So voice, sentiment, a lot of things that can be done. What about formation and ongoing education? AI can be used quite a lot in this regard. First of all, personalized learning, creating AI-driven platforms, translation of global communication. I'm sure all our general chapters, we had people to translate. I don't think now we'll require any more. That will be definitely done by an AI and almost simultaneously with a very minimal error. Again, resource creation, like Canva and many other softwares can help you to create teaching materials, prayers, reflections, and of course, you can use your creativity in order to do this. So formation, definitely AI applied softwares are a great help. Developing curriculum, doing the assessment, and tracking the progress of each individual. So again, for mission and evangelization. As I was saying casually in the beginning, hopefully we are training about 30 youngsters in December to become digital ambassadors. What will they be doing? They will be trained to be handlers in social media and Twitter and other AI generated resources to make our presence, our values available to people. So it's a wonderful tool if you want to use for a re-evangelization and a new evangelization in the world. Content creation. There's a website or the AI software called Art to Flow. Art to Flow. In about 2 minutes, you can create a 3 minutes video. You select a character, you put a little story, and it will create for you a beautiful story. Interactive, imaginative, and again, immersive. So the content creation. Third, the listening to the margins. AI can process data from conflict zones, migration patterns. Recently, we realized we have more than 30,000 youngsters in Goa who are from Northeast alone. The data is collected. Now, this data can be analyzed to understand what we can do and what we need to do in order to reach out to them. So listening to the margins, it's a beautiful, beautiful assistance. Now, of course, we cannot forget, Pope Francis, the Laudato Si. Now, if you see that poster on the background here, Echo Spiritual Leadership. I created this probably in 15 seconds. Just 15 seconds. So if you have to do posters, if you have to do images, if you have to do anything that you require, the content creation. Earlier, to create a content like this possibly took us, I don't know how much of time. You went to all kind of softwares, DTP, they cut and pasted, we sat with them, and they put it here. Here we can do in less than 30 seconds. So now, what are the challenges? It's ethical, spiritual, and pastoral concerns. Now, what are we looking at? I think that's where we need to balance the risk of dehumanization. I think this is going to be a major challenge in religious life. I think it's already seen among the senior citizens who are retired and who are getting addicted to mobiles, and they are not interested to talk to the other person. They are not interested to interact with the other person. So the risk of dehumanization. Second, there's no privacy. Practically, the entire concept of privacy and confidentiality is changing. The next dimension is biases and inequality. Now it becomes very easy to create new narratives about people, events, or situations. Because we live in, as philosophers would say, we live in a time of post-truth. If you say a lie 10 times, people think it is true. And that's what's happening with the social narrative. So it is easy with AI to create biases and inequality within the community as well as in society, because we live in the post-truth era. And we become over-dependent and, of course, become lazy. Because the AI can do your work. You know, if you have to prepare a report, well, now most of us are already doing that. So the laziness creeps in, and which will definitely going to affect the mental health as well as the physical health. Now comes the whole theological challenges. How do we understand, the whole concept or understanding of theology? How do we understand our own religiosity? And as I said earlier, AI is creating its own religion because it is creating rituals. It's creating practices. So it's important to think about. Now, how do we move ahead? Why AI matters for consecrated life? One is, as I said earlier, missionary usefulness, language support, multicultural, multi-languages, administration. Recently, I was working with an agency who are concerned with the school ERPs. Now a parent, as soon as the parent comes at the gate, the camera identifies the parent. It goes to the ERP data system, pulls up the mark sheet of the children right onto your screen. So when the parent comes to see the principal can speak to the parent so, as though it is so real. Because all the mark sheets, all the reports, everything is on the screen of the principal. It can become very personable. So there's a lot of things that can be beautifully done. Now, this is where Pope Francis said, technocratic paradigms. AI must serve human dignity and community and not replace it. I think my worry is exactly this. AI may replace the human dignity and our communities if it is not right and proportionately used. AI is a tool, it's not the master. I think that's a key aspect of it. So, ChatGPT or Gemini, Grok, or DeepSeek, all these are good softwares to create homilies. Canva, beautiful designs. Sora, Speechify or Natural Reader. Konut, Bible quizzes for catechesis. Now, this is the research or writing document AI software that are quite great at the moment. ChatGPT, as I told you, I am biased a little bit because I have a paid version of ChatGPT. Midjourney. DeepSeek is a Chinese AI software, quite effective, but I'm afraid and frightened about the data stealing. Then Grok is also quite good. Now, Perplexity is coming up very well at the moment in documentations. And Gemini, of course, it has. Now, each of these softwares or each of this AI application has its own strength and weaknesses, definitely. As I told you, if you are using an open source or a free source, your data is not protected. Your data is not protected. And then it also causes what we call plagiarism. So that is a serious concern. So whenever you use for a document, and if you are using an open source, there's a likelihood that it will lead to plagiarism. Now, these are some of the softwares that are easily good for. For example, this fill out is beautiful for creating forms. You want to conduct surveys of effectiveness or whatever it is, and it creates for you a lot of ways to do things. Form Stack, Secona, SurveyMonkey, it was already there before. Now they have got a much more templates on it. I tried the fill out, which is very good, like the Google form, and you can do up to 1,000 without pay. So all these softwares are definitely, and if any of you want this PowerPoint, I would be happy to share it. So no worry. Now, these are some of the softwares that can be used. All the directories are available in toolify.ai. That is where all AI tools are available. So if you go to that website, toolify.ai, or you can go to Hugging Face. There also you get all kind of applications that are available. Now, if you want to make a website by yourself, either Lovable or natively, Lovable can create within about 3-4 minutes a website for your organization. You only have to put some inputs. Again, Firebase. Then for stimulation for learning, Biodigital Human. That is humanbiodigital.com. Then stimulation for learning, especially for science, that is PHET. Then you have, for example, stimulation again, Anima Graphics. Anytime you want to create a song for birthday, inauguration, visitors, suno.ai. I tell you, it's a wonderful tool. Within about few seconds, you can make a beautiful song, which is so useful. Then again, you have 11LB, which is translating text to speech. Hamva, text to video creation. Kiddo Worksheets, Fast Read. Now, there are numerous softwares of AI applications, numerous of them. Now, as I told you, I am more biased because I have a paid version of the generative pre-trained transformer that is called ChatGPT, basically. And that is what I use it, and I will get into that, how it is used. Now, in any of these places, you have to do what we call prompt. As Stephen Covey said, end in the mind. What do you want? For example, a professional summary. Craft a highly engaging professional summary for my CV that highlights my expertise in industry or skills optimization. If you want a cover letter, write a personalized cover letter for a very clearly, and start doing it. So prompt is what makes things better. Now, after this, I will go to a practical aspect. So AI invites us to make a new kind of leadership, one that is contemplative in spirit, yet technologically competent. Prophetic in vision, yet pastoral in application. Collaborative, building bridges between human wisdom and digital intelligence. So creating a fusion of the human intelligence and the digital intelligence. That is where the leadership becomes prophetic and effective and relevant. In other words, rooted and relevant. Rooted in the spirituality of the empty cross and the empty tomb. Relevant with the digital intelligence. You need the fusion of both in order to be effective, rooted, and relevant, so that the religious life today can become more effective, move forward. Now, one of the things that we often hear from priests and others, oh, AI will stop you from thinking. So I used to ask this priest, have you ever used one? No. But we create so much of narratives about it. I think I invite today more and more people, jump into it, to the water, swim. And I learned on my own, basically, all the AI that I'm using at the moment. I know it's a struggle. There's a lot of failure, but at the same time, there's a lot of success. Now, the PowerPoint that you saw today, they are all assisted by AI in creating it. And it's created with the assistance. So there's a lot that we can be doing with it. So, as I said earlier, the future is not written by algorithms, but by hearts open to the Spirit. I think that's where leadership need to not shun technology, but prepare the membership to harness the power of technology and also use the technology in decision making. So after this, I will get into basically, we have some time. So I will go into how do you use ChatGPT for various purposes. And the similar thing happens in any of the other softwares. Unless you want to ask me questions right now. If there are any questions that has come in.
So far, no questions have come in, Father.
Okay.
Maybe we can announce it to the members and then can wait.
So now, for example, this is my homepage of the ChatGPT. Okay. So what I have done is I have created projects. There's something called, this is only in the paid version. I have projects on AI, Education Commission, legal, AT, youth. So if I say here, legal, now I want to create, now if I have to create a letter, a suspension letter for a teacher in the school. Okay. So I just write draft for me a suspension letter. Now, for what? Continued absence, without permission. Now, before that, I have already created, I have given instruction to ChatGPT. I told ChatGPT, in this case, assume the role of an advocate who is also priest and draft according to it. So all these letters will be drafted in this way. So if I say, go ahead, see. Yeah. See. Done. Now, if you want to make into canonical term, it will create. You want in a legal terms, purely legal, it will create that. Now, say you want to create, okay, this is, now, for example, you want to create any image. Anything that you want, you can do that. So now, any of this, so you create projects and give on the project, you instruct the ChatGPT what role it should assume. And it will give you the detail. It will function according to that. So that is the way it is done. So it will function according to that. So any of these, for example, Education Commission. So there is the instructions are given. Assume the role of the Secretary Education Commission, who has a wide experience in education and also holds a doctorate and a postdoctorate. Now, any of this, for example, research, there are so many of those projects I have in research, for example. Now, I want to summarize one book. So what I do is simple. Just add the file. Now I have kept it for our advantage. Okay. So I have kept it for our purpose. I just put a book in, okay, in my file. Okay. So leadership communication. So I upload this book and say, prepare the summary. Of the book in one page. So you can upload up to 10 books at a time. So it will read for you and prepare it. See. Look. Up to 10 books you can upload at a time. So if you create a project, every time you upload, you can upload 30, 40, 50 books. Then you say you create what you want to create out of it. And so then I see it is made into, now as a create a PPT.
For the poll,
Yes.
there are two questions that has already been posted by participants. Sister Nanda,
Okay.
would you like to read
Yes,
that?
I will. How to meet the loss of job because of AI. And another question is AI, is artificial intelligence really artificial, or is it fed already by human sources?
Start with,
So,
we are calling it as artificial because a human brain, it is difficult to analyze the documents, to store such amount of information that easily. So therefore, it's in a way artificial. But it is coming from the human intelligence and not of one, of many. And remember the characteristic of knowledge that I had said, knowledge has been, or information has been deinstitutionalized. So it's able to access informations. Now, second, ChatGPT does not take away your job. Or the AI does not take away your job. Who takes away your job is the person who knows AI. So skill yourself, you don't lose your job. That's it. Now, what happened now? Just take the example of a JCB or a earth mover. Earth mover takes away the job of 1,000 people a day. Ordinary casual labor. Now, have they gone hungry? No, they learned new skills and moved on. That's it. So you have to acquire skill. That is why today, one thing with the priest with the homilies, as Pope Francis said, 7 or 8 minutes. Today, homilies has to be engaging. Otherwise, you may not have people in the church if the liturgy is not active. And this is beautiful. He can customize your hymns every week. And people will come to church. So to give that God experience, you definitely require the assistance of it. So you can do this. Also what happens, sometimes you get a lot of photographs or images online and you want to get extract out of it. Say, for example, here it's a photograph. So I can tell ChatGPT, extract it in words. It will extract for you a photograph. Or you want to check the authenticity of a photograph. You can see that was 10 principles of Kaizen. So this is the image that, see, that image has been extracted, you see. I would have taken at least half an hour to do this. You can do it in 30 seconds. Now, create an image. Create an image of a Catholic nun aged about 60 years with a smiling face. Okay. So that's a prompt I have given. Now it will create. Now if I say with the Indian sari, it will be different. If you say with a rosary around, with the insignia, so those things will come. Now, what about the second question as it is getting, image is getting generated?
Father, there is a question as will it affect the creativity of doctoral work and hard work of doctoral students?
I have been
And also
helping I'm helping a couple of doctoral students. If you have a paid version of any of these softwares, then I think it is not going to affect, because you are going to upload the textbooks or articles that you are using. So it helps you to do the analysis. And then you do the write-up the way you want to do it. Now, if you are not using a paid version, what happens is it takes information from anywhere. And ChatGPT always says at the end, ChatGPT can make mistakes. OpenAI does not use, other things. See, image is created of a 60-year-old nun. Look, this image.
There are many more questions. Maybe
as Father
You can tell me as I do the thing, I can answer
all
the
right.
question.
Yeah.
All right. Is it true that young children have started chatting with ChatGPT and it's as with real human person and they are in need of medical assistance?
ChatGPT you can also speak to. If you are feeling lonely, you can speak to ChatGPT and ChatGPT responds to you. And many of them are starting to use AI softwares. And these AI softwares are very emotionally clear. They are able to pick up your words, emotions, and it is coming in. That is why by 2047, we all will have a robot at home who will be doing the cooking, washing, cleaning, all that work. And your food will be exactly the way you want it to be cooked. By 2047, I think we should have possibly a robot which is operating on intelligence. Then there is something called humanizing AI. Now, my AI, which I'm using, is humanized because it uses the kind of language I use, because I have trained it so far. So it can be humanized. AI can be humanized. That is why a lot of the time when you read something, you realize, it is from ChatGPT, because that's not your language. So you have to also humanize AI when you do your work. Look at the 60-year-old Indian nun getting shaped.
Father, there's one more question.
Yes.
Please mention some of the AI tools that are specifically dealing with church-related matters.
I can send it to you, a list of it, because some of them I have not tried them personally. Or you go to any of this website, Google, and just type it on, you will get that. One of the things that is they are using it, ChatGPT, Bible On is a good app that is based on AI. Bible On. You can download it free. Bible On. It has the Kerala Bible outline on the outside. The Bible On app. A wonderful app that you can use. use a saffron. Sorry.
But as you're processing it, I have a question. Could you
Yeah.
please give some concrete example of skill mapping?
At the moment, see, one of my friends used to say, a professor at the university, he'll say, Father, most of your religious houses are graveyard of skills and creativity. Because the way that we are created, our system, that all has to fall in line. In the process, we talk about creativity. It's like all our chapters, we begin with in response to signs of the time, we start that way. But at the end of the chapter, we never talks about signs of the time. We talk how much of money we have to start a new center. So I think there is a mismatch there. I just complete this. Use a saffron sari and a rosary on the neck.
For Paul,
Yeah.
maybe instead of that, if we can focus on the questions, we have many of them that's coming up. So
Okay, please.
maybe
No problem. I can do that. This will keep generating.
okay.
Yes.
Now that may be a little bit of a distraction. Maybe we can focus on the questions a little more.
Okay, please. You want me to go to a screen or you like to read out the question?
Well,
it's
we will
okay.
read out the questions for you, Sister Nirmala.
Okay.
Will do that.
Yes.
Sure.
Father, could you explain about predictive analysis?
Predictive analysis. Now, what they are doing a lot with this medical field, particularly in the area of cancer, they are doing it for eye problems they are dealing with. The similar thing we can also do in the congregations. Taking the history of the congregations, the personnel's details, their qualification, once it is all fed into, then we know what is the level of people are. Like the health conditions. Now, many of the time, we do not know how our personnel going to be, say, 2030. So if the current data is given clearly, it will analyze for you. I mean, it may not be fully accurate, but it will be quite accurate, saying that by 2030, 2035, 2040. So the full data has to be created and given to. So predictive analysis is when we are able to give them a certain amount of data, which is factual. Based on that, ask it to predict the future. And there are a lot of parameters that has to be filled. Otherwise, it will not be able to do it. Now, how many individuals you have? What are their qualifications? What kind of work they have been doing? And all those, that is why there is a Christo app. Any of you like to do that? Christo app created by Aloyd. They are creating a app for congregations to put all their details into it. And after putting the detail, they can do all this predictive analysis of what the personnel looks like, who can be placed, what can be done, how much of strength has left, all those things. But the data has to be filled in. The challenge is filling the data. That is why they started that app called Christo app. Mr. Thompson is the one who is doing that at the moment. They are also developing for parishes, similar app to maintain the parish data. So once you have a data, then you can do the analysis of the data. So that's a predictive analysis.
Father, could you tell us about some of the privacy aspects of AI?
If you are not using a paid version of any of the software, absolutely there's no privacy. Even our mobile chats are not private anymore. Because where you are can be easily tracked. Because your GPS is on, you are constantly connecting with the signals. So the aspect of privacy is very limited. And again, you need to also clarify what do you mean by privacy. Because many people have many understanding of privacy. What do you mean by privacy? So in a normal understanding, Practically, there's no privacy today. Anyone can find out where you are with your mobile because you'll know which is connected to which tower. That is why in India recently, National Council of Teacher Education asked every college to upload the phone numbers of their students. You know why? If they are selling a degree and the students have not come to school, they can track it down because that mobile was never in the vicinity of the college. So there's no privacy. So privacy is very limited.
Father, just connected with this, another question. ChatGPT is great for learning, but when AI platforms like ChatGPT warn users not to share private data, how can we justify asking religious to provide their data information for governance?
That is why you need data protection system. Now, when I told you about the Krista, they will customize for you. And that data will not go out from there.
Okay.
And you have to pay for it. There are two certifications. I forget the name of that certification. There are two certifications which says this website or this data is safe. That is why when you have a website or when you have in a congregational website and all, there are people who will come to you and say, Father, sister, I can do this for this much of rate. And they might give you a very cheap rate. Someone might give you a high rate. You will have to ask, what's the data protection? Can others hack it? Today, many schools and colleges, their websites have been hacked, and then they start negotiating for a ransom, or they start posting all kind of nonsense on your website. So that you will have to pay. Pardon?
Question related to that. How are we assured that the paid version has privacy? Anyway, we are uploading our data.
There is an agreement when you do that. You enter into a contract. And in that contract, it's very clear.
Yeah, Father Paul, there was one more question about skill mapping.
Yes.
It was left unanswered. So can you please explain that concept?
Now, remember I put a website on a link on, I'll go back to that. Okay, I'm getting out of this, okay? I'll get back to the... Okay.
Yeah, you can stop sharing and you can focus on the question.
I'll just go back to that is, am I sharing it? Okay, I have already put it here, skills. Are you able to see this?
No. You may have to close this particular.
Okay, stop here. I will just upload it again. Give me a second. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, we can see it now.
Okay. Now, basically, when you talk about skills, you're also looking at the soft skills and also you're looking at the capability and competence. So you will have to create an ideal priest or an ideal sister or an ideal brother. And this is what it is. Now, based on that, you create questionnaires. Then give to individuals. And when they answer, you are comparing yourself with an ideal person. Then you will know where are the level of your skills in the congregation. So you have to create an ideal sister, whether it's a clerician, ideal clerician, or ideal Jesuit, or whatever it is. That's the ideal. That may not be achieved at all, but that's what ideal is. Based on that, you will create a questionnaire, which will be circulated among the members. Collect that data, then you start analyzing it. That is where the skill mapping is done, which is a very tedious. The preparation of the question is the most important. And how do you prepare the questionnaire? One, based on the soft skills. Then you have the competencies. Then you have what you talk about the knowledge level. Then you talk about proficiency. Then, of course, you have the spirituality. So you take 5 or 6 areas. Then you also have the academic qualification of the individuals. So create an ideal person. After that, create questionnaire based on each of ideal areas. Ask them to fill it to you. And when the entire province does that, from there, you can do the analysis and say, this is our strength, like the SWOT analysis. This is our strength, this is our opportunity, and this is the skill gap that we have in the community.
Paul, I like to also ask something from my experience. The error possibilities. No? This AI is a tool, an assistant, and not the master. No?
Yes.
DeepSeek, in one of my questions, it was holding Pope Francis as the current Pope. And I think the reason is they have not updated their database after the election, possibly. And even ChatGPT has given wrong answers, which I knew. For example, the author of a book, of a painting which I was looking for, the painter, they gave wrong. And I said, it is wrong. And they said, absolutely sorry, I made the mistake like that. No? What do you say about that aspect of error?
There is an aspect of error, very much. Now, for example, if you write something and you say, I want a quote verbatim from Pope Francis, okay? Verbatim. And if you give an MLA or APA style format, it will give you page number. And sometime when you counter check, you realize it is not there. So sometimes AI also makes up, do a little bit of laughing. That you have to be aware of it. That is where your human skill becomes important.
For the Paul, there was one more question. I want to just read it out. What is a guarantee that paid version has privacy since you are anyway uploading your matter? So how can we guarantee that?
I think we answered already.
You can guarantee because you are paying for it. That's why you are paying for it.
Okay.
It is like your website or your any data system. The more you pay, I am not saying the more, you are getting more security provisions. And at the end of the day, there's nothing secure. Because you have every software company has got the hacking team. And their job is to hack and create software to stop it. And that's the way business survives. Like recently, I've been working with a group of guys working on anti-drone of the anti-drone. We already have drones. We already have anti-drones. Now, other day we were sitting and talking about anti-drones of the anti-drone. And the day we spent watching vultures to develop something out of it. Because vultures are very quick in their movements and they are able to do things. So again, and I am sure after a few months, the anti-drone of the anti-drone of the anti-drone will be there. That's a human progress. That's the way it works. So I am not saying it's absolutely safe. That's why I asked you, define what do you mean by privacy? Because different people have different understanding of privacy. Yes.
Just to clarify, when we are talking about mapping, it's beautiful how the members in the congregation, the skills are there. How do you map it with the missionary priorities or needs of the society?
So it can be easily done. For example, that's why I said you create an ideal system.
Okay.
In AI language, you call an avatar. Okay. Then based on, then you have areas that you look at, 6 or 7 areas. For example, maybe the human relationship, spirituality, qualifications, whatever it is, you break down. Each of them we can develop questionnaires. And they have been filled by the members. And that is where you do the skill mapping. And once you have a skill mapping, then you can predict how the skills are going to be and how much a gap is there and what kind of programs you have to create, especially for the leadership, asking what kind of programs do you need to create in order to reduce the gap. Otherwise, what happened, many of it's like our retreats, one time I preached a retreat for golden jubilarians. So I told them, I said, you know what? You have already attended at least 53 retreats. That has not changed you. You think this retreat is going to change? Because some of you may not be on the face of the earth the next year. So let us celebrate this 50th retreat, So we'll have to really make it relevant and useful. Often many of our programs are ritual. It's a ritualistic. Often it has no relevance, and then we try to beat the dead horse to create a meaning, and which doesn't happen. And we are very happy somehow we have done the program.
There is one more, it's a statement rather, if you would like to comment. ChatGPT tries to satisfy the user, does not have updated information. Even English grammar makes mistake. So the user has to be vigilant. You would like to comment something further?
You have to be. That is why whenever you require a material, you upload your books or text, whatever you are using it from. For example, now you have got MyLoft. I don't know how many of you use that. MyLoft is a software of the British Digital Library. You can get the latest research articles in different areas. You can read the newspaper. So you upload to ChatGPT or I'm using the word ChatGPT just for the sake of it. Upload it at a time 10 articles. So in 1 hour, you can upload maybe 30, 40, 50. And then it will base itself on what you have uploaded. And it also, again, that is where your prompt is very important. Like if you want a document, you have to specifically say the codes have to be verbatim in APA style format. And if you want an academic language, specify it's an academic language. All those things have to be specified. So prompt is what gets what you want to get.
There's one more question related to skill mapping. For the skill mapping of a province, do you mean to say we have to upload the information of each sister for the analysis and mapping along with the ideal for the mapping?
Sure. Once you do the survey, the instrument, the research instrument, once the data comes in, that's a different process. There is a particular area of analysis in the software itself, which will do the analysis for you. That's a very deep, that's not easily, then that will do all kind of, other day I had analyzed about 3,700 data. And I had about 28 questions in each of them. And for each 28 questions, it created the graph which I needed for presentation. Then it will do all and then you'll have to say what kind of analysis. Whether it's ANOVA, whether it's a chi-square, t-test, there are a lot of analysis tools that you use in statistics, the inferential statistics. And if you only want the descriptive, then it becomes very easy. Definitely.
Paul,
Yes.
I have one more observation. No? See, this AI does far faster what our brain can do.
Yes.
But there is something in us, which is what we call heart and our soul, a bigger area which comes into play when we deal with situations. For example, now think of leadership, a particular situation where we forgive that brother or sister, or how do we handle an ethical situation? Now, I think AI may not be able to help us much. It is where the values of the gospel and what we call maturity, Christian maturity, and so on, have to come into play. We cannot use a machine to take that job.
I agree with you very much. But it can assist you in the process. See, that is why our future should not be written by algorithms. We write the future. That's why I put that statement 2 times at least. So algorithms definitely help us to analyze a routine activity or a repetitive activity. But it will not give us possibility for, a behavior which is out there or random behavior patterns. That is where the human being, otherwise we will only have robots. We don't need human beings.
And there's also an ethical question.
It is.
That, for example, these automatic auto rickshaws, there's no guarantee that there will not be accident. And if there is an accident, who is responsible?
Accidents in India, I tell you, I always get, we have a different, we are very, the Indian mind is very good with ambiguity. And Western mind is more with methodology.
Okay.
That is why we can have a pedestrian, we can have a cow, we can have a truck in a circle, and all of them survive without having an accident. Well, accidents will definitely happen. But then that may not be the order of the day. That would be an exception. For example, the plane crashes. Doesn't happen every day. It happens once in a while.
The question is ownership, the ownership. Who will be accused? Because it's a
Nobody
machine.
will own. Now this aircraft fell down. Who is owning the ownership now? Finally, the dead pilot will become pilot error at the end.
But the company has to pay to the
Yes.
people.
That
in
will
this.
come. That's why insurance is there, no? Now, for example, today in Idiki, a jeep was, not a jeep, what do you call it, a tempo traveler was washed away by the rain. Now, who will pay for it? Insurance will have to pay. That's why insurance is needed today.
There's one more question. AI is really very helpful for individual, but is it not making human mind more lethargic and distancing members in the community?
It depends how you use it. You know, when you go to a restaurant and if you're going for a buffet, there's plenty of food. Are you going to eat all the food? Or you choose what you want? Simple as that. It's a choice you make. And you pay for the choice you make. That is where stewardship and ownership of decision comes in. Many of us don't want to own the decision. And when the problem, that is why when India loses the war, the defense minister will resign. And if we win the war, the prime minister will get all the praises. That's a human reality.
There is a statement, if you'd like to comment on it. To meet the challenges of AI, religious personnel have to be trained in this technology. Do you like to comment on this, Father?
You know, I call it Nokia effect in religious life today. You know what the Nokia effect is? Nokia was the phone that probably the vast population of Indians used. Today, Nokia is not there. And Nokia did not do anything wrong. Believe me that. But others did better. This is a choice. It is like washing powder Nirma. We all grew up with a washing powder Nirma. Remember that ad? Yes. What happened to washing powder Nirma? Gone. So Nokia effect is what is affecting religious life in India today. We are not doing anything wrong, but others are doing better. Whether it's our education institutions, whether the way we conduct programs, the way our personal demeanors, that's it. So you want to have a Nokia effect? Otherwise, we have our own story of the ambassador. Yeah. So these are our own time examples. And I think we are creeping into that.
Maybe this could be the last question. It's time for us to wind up. Which is the best two AI tools for religious leaders?
More and more, I am biased. I agree with you. I find if you can train ChatGPT, you can get a lot of your work done. And take a paid version for a longer time. And within that, you can do a lot of other things. There's a Sora where you give life to the images. And if you use Sora and 11LB, you can, like me talking, the entire script can be made into a talk. You can make podcast. All that can be easily done with that. Within 1.5 hours, it's not possible to go into any of this training of the softwares. But basically, you need to develop what I call visual thinking. Because when you open your screen, you'll see so many things happening on the corners. Now, most of us are very difficult to, we don't read them. I remember when we conducted this workshop in Goa for 5 days, I also got one more person to assist me because I realized the students will ask, Father, where is that button? So you had to walk down to find that button, which is on your screen already. So you need a lot of visual thinking or visible thinking that has to be developed when you use any of these gadgets on your screen. I'm using a 35-inch screen at the moment, so I can do multiple things simultaneously. Yes.
Maybe a quick suggestion, but somebody asks how to prepare a video using ChatGPT, and there's one more question. What is that you're talking about bias? What do you mean by that? These are the two questions with that we will wind up.
See, every software is created by somebody. And they have their ideology. It is like any of the channels of the television. NDTV earlier had a different ideology. Times of India, Times have a different ideology. Now Hindu has another ideology, Hindu newspaper. So every manufacturer or creator has a set of values and ideology on this their work. And you need to become aware of it so that you are not negatively influenced by that ideology. So that's why that bias happens. We are all biased. We can only reduce our bias. When someone says, oh, Mangalorean, or automatically, or a Goan, see, our mind already creates an image, which may be true, may not be true. But we can reduce the bias, and we cannot be absolutely free from any bias as long as you are a human being. And then for a video, Artflow is one of the good software that can be used for a video making, Artflow.
So